Big jobs means big equipment, like this bad boy from John Deere right here. Now, you're not gonna go out and spend over $100,000 on something like that and put it behind any old pickup truck. Well, Chevrolet says that they offer the most confident answer for heavy hauling with its 2017 HD lineup. And the brand has brought us out here to the John Deere playground, proving ground in rural Illinois to find out if that's true. So this is the 2017 Chevrolet Silverado 3500. Now, from the outside, there's not too much changed about this truck. On the interior, there's just about nothing changed on this truck. What the real meat of this new redesign is all under the hood. There is one visual change to the truck, and that's that hood scoop up there, which feeds a new Ram air system, which helps the truck keep its temperatures in check, and it can run for longer periods of time under more stress and stay cool thanks to that Ram air. So the Ram air system is just one of a host of changes that have come to the Duramax this year, and all put together, it equals more power and less emissions. And GM actually says they cut those emissions by 35%. But those emissions aren't really the most important thing here, are they? What you need to know is that this engine now makes 445 horsepower and 910 pound-feet of torque at just 1,550 RPM, so all of that power is available right off the line. Now that extra power is definitely the biggest update that came to this HD, but Chevy has also put in a few new systems that make trailering easier, and I think one of my favorites is the camera system here on the Silverado. Any system which gives you more eyeballs around your vehicle, especially when you have a big trailer on, is always a good thing. And here in the Chevy HDs, we have cameras in both of the mirrors, and when you signal, the corresponding camera will show up on the screen. So if I signal to the right, I can see what's directly beside me in the right lane, essentially getting rid of the blind spots. Now there's also a Chimsel camera, which is mounted up high looking down into the bed. Now that's good if you want to see what you've got back there, but it's also really good for hooking up a fifth wheel or a gooseneck because you can get a really direct line of sight on where your hitch is. And then of course, there's a camera out back in the tailgate, and that will help you when hooking up with regular trailers or when just backing in. Finally, one of the things Chevy does that no one else does is they have an auxiliary camera which goes on the back of your trailer. Now, you might be saying, well, yeah, Ford does that. The issue is Ford's camera has a wire. Chevrolet has managed to go wireless. And I know Ford kind of did the wired thing for reliability, but it's a pain. You have to run that wire somewhere. It could get caught on something. Here in the Chevy, you just get a wireless camera, slap it on the back of your trailer, and boom, you can see all the way back there, and it's easy setup. Now, seeing as we're here visiting John Deere in Illinois and Iowa, we got to tow around some of Deere's heavy-duty equipment today to really get a feel for these trucks. And the first thing I'll tell you, which isn't that surprising, is that all of that torque gets the load moving with no problem at all. We were pulling, nearly 13,000 pounds in a 2500 with the diesel under the hood, and getting it moving, actually pulling that thing, was just no problem for this truck. And dynamically, it's essentially the same story. These trucks just feel so comfortable, so confident once they have trailers on the back. And that point was really driven home on the Iowa interstate because it sort of had this wave thing going on. And there was certainly a lot of front to back bucking that you could feel with the truck and trailer. Now that's something you certainly don't want, but what's most important, the truck didn't feel like it was being pushed around. The bucking was there, but it wasn't making me feel uncomfortable, and somehow the truck still felt confident, and that's the most important thing, and these HDs just nail it. Now there are two other systems that play when it comes to trailering I want to talk about. One of them is the digital steering assist, which essentially gives you a light steering wheel at parking lot speeds and a heavier steering wheel, especially the on-center feel, at highway speeds to make sure you feel confident, and again, it works great. But easily the coolest part of the steering assist is it actually counteracts the crown in the road to make sure that you keep tracking straight and you don't have to constantly be adjusting your steering to make sure you're not running off the road. Yet another system that just makes towing, kind of mindless is the auto grade braking in this truck. Now, basically all that means is if you set the cruise control to 50 miles an hour and you start going down a hill, it's gonna hold you at 50. It's gonna use a combination of the exhaust brake and the transmission and the actual brakes of the truck to make sure you keep that speed. And anyone who's ever towed heavy loads down long hills knows that can actually be the most stressful part of towing, and these GM HDs do a really nice job of removing a lot of that stress. Now, Chevy also spent some time in the bed of this 17, and just like its competition, the brand is now offering a gooseneck or fifth wheel hitch straight from the factory. Now, there's a few reasons why that is excellent. First of all, you can assume that the work has been done properly and all of the cross members and bracing have been installed correctly. And second of all, probably my favorite is that that hitch is warranted. So if you do have an issue with it, you take it back to your dealer, they're gonna fix it for you. No dealing with aftermarket companies, and I think that's always preferred. And finally, the interior. Now, I mentioned off the top that for 17, GM didn't change the insides of this truck, and that's fine because they really didn't have to. I like this interior a lot. I really like the rubber wrapped buttons on the steering wheel. Not only do they feel good, but they give you all the controls you could ever need. I like these toggle switches down here in the center stack. They're maybe a little gimmicky, but they look cool, they feel good, and they just feel like they belong in a truck. And besides those specifics, most importantly, the leather is comfortable in here, the fit and finish is nice. Really, this is just a nice, high-quality pickup truck interior. Now, I do have to make one quick complaint, and this is actually about most General Motors trucks. The steering wheel is just a little bit off-center to my seating position. The seat and the steering wheel don't line up, and, assumably it was cheaper to engineer it like that, and most people probably wouldn't notice. I didn't even notice for quite a while, but now that I see it, it just bugs me while I sit here. And if GM wanted to, they could spend a few more bucks and just move this wheel over a little bit more, and then you're nice and straight. There is no faster way to turn a group of adult men into little kids than by letting them play with toys like these. And thanks to John Deere for letting us have some fun today. Now, it wasn't all just fun though. We really got to see what a contractor or a construction worker would go through loading this equipment every day and taking it to the job site. And let me tell you that the 2017 Chevy Silverado HD lineup, especially with the updates for this year, turns hard work into child's play.